everyone speaking today and hear about the amazing products that you're already using. I'm really impressed at what you're doing. What we're going to take a look at now is there a way that we can do things together? Can we collaborate? Can we work on processes together? Just as a caveat right at the beginning, we are agnostic. We wouldn't exclude any of the vendors in the room. We would work comfortably with them. So to the vendors in the room, we love you too. So, we can work nicely with other people. We like other people to work nicely with us. It's the only way that local government will move forward. I know this is after lunch. I know you're all comfy and we've had a wonderful lunch and it's warm and we're all friendly. So I don't want you to sleep. I just would like to take you though down memory lane. So perhaps this was your experience of music.
Why are you looking at me?
Because you're so good looking.
It is, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, perhaps this was your experience of music. It was similar to mine, but I didn't wind up the handle. And perhaps you can, memory is a funny thing. We associate it with a smell, we associate it with an event. We can all say, for example, where was I when 9/11 happened? I can say the first time I was struck with computer fever, it was when I went as a schoolgirl, into a computer room and put a set of cards into a machine and was overawed, literally overawed by those cards riding through the machine. So you might not have started the journey then, you might have started a different journey. So let's look at two journeys, one through IT and one through music, to see what we take for granted now and how we've stood on the shoulders of giants. Tape recorder took us further than the record did because we could put more records on one tape. Basic took us further than Fortran. The cassette meant we were portable, and who doesn't remember the Walkman? And putting stuff in our music in our ears and going to walk with it. Some of us don't remember Ritchie, which is a very sad thing, because Dennis Ritchie was the creator of C programming. I've heard about C# being used today. If it wasn't for Ritchie, it wouldn't have existed. He was the father of Unix. He died a week after Steve Jobs. We don't remember Ritchie, but we do remember Steve. Without Ritchie, Steve wouldn't have existed. So we do stand on the shoulders of some giants. Then we got to the compact disc. We just take that for granted now. We don't even use it. Our particular favorite is rapid application design. Started in the 1980s. So when I talk to you about low-code, or when we mention low-code, you'll say, oh, that's new and modern and fangled. No, it's not new and modern and fangled. It started in the 80s as rapid application design. People trying to do things faster because we don't have enough resources. How often in the room today have we heard, well, IT's got a backlog, we can't get to our priorities fast enough, we don't know what our priorities are, but we don't have the skills to do what we need to do. People have been struggling with this for a long time. In fact, in the US at the moment, there are 50,000 IT jobs vacant every year because there's nobody to do them. And the industry knows it has to find a better way. It's wonderful to be a coder. It's incredibly white knight and charger-ish to come up with something that's extreme and beautiful and doing it a new way. And I really applaud those people. However, modern day, every day has to rush. We can't be waiting for skills that don't exist. So, rapid application design has been there for a while. From a tape recorder to MP3. From C to C++, and on to C#, which I don't have a picture of. So the question goes, we take certain things for granted. We now take the way we get music for granted. We don't worry about the way we get the music. We worry about the music content we had. But perhaps you don't know, and we've all been talking about cuts and austerity, perhaps you don't know that streaming was the savior of the music industry. Sounds counterintuitive. Why? Between 1999 and 2009, the music industry lost 60% of its value. They were laying people off. The only response that the industry had was to fight with people like Napster and people who were sharing. When they worked out how to stream and how musicians could benefit, it started to save the industry. Now, it's not fun for me to think that Ed Sheeran gets $50 million a year from his streaming. And the way he does it is he releases a song in 4 versions. Every version gets X of a penny. Everybody in the world wants to hear a bit of Ed Sheeran. So he's rich. Lovely. But what's wonderful is that the guy in the corner who has a particular jazz genre who wants to launch himself as a musician, or the woman who does folk, they can now launch themselves and make an honest living using streaming, and the music industry's back on its feet again. So I know it's a bit of a jump, and I know it's a little bit presumptuous, but I can't help the passion that we feel about low-code. We believe that low-code can help. It can fill in the gaps where coding can't work, or when coding takes too long. Coding is necessary. Coding is part of governance and control. Coding is a real foundation of what we do. But when you're trying to have future flexible apps or applications or forms, and there are people in this room who are already using systems that are future flexible, and they must carry on doing that. You don't want to be locked into something you yourself can't change. And low code, the design is there so that you can build it today, iterate and change tomorrow, in 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, and you're not vendor dependent. So what is it? It's a drag and drop platform that it's a visual platform that uses drag and drop. It has the capacity to code in blocks if you want to, or BAs and intelligent users can just drag and drop and get things going. We're recognized by Gartner. They have a very long acronym. High productivity application as a platform as a service. Forrester just call it low code. And we believe it can deliver affordable acceleration. You can share with one another. It's efficient and very flexible, and yet you have governance and control. So let's explain how this works. You have 3 layers in every traditional development. You have technical, analytical, and functional. And often IT is really struggling to keep the lights on, managing all of that for every nth application. What low-code does is the technical are controlled by IT, set once. The analytical and all your reporting controlled by your architects and your analysts and set once. And then your digital teams, many of whom are in this room, who wanted to do a form or a function or integrate with something. You have something you want to integrate with that. You do each block that goes on the top. So you don't need to repeat the analytical and the technical. You just take that for granted and you drag and drop from the top. That's why it's 5 to 10 times less resource to run a low code. And I'll show you some proof and some business cases shortly. So we speed development, we save resource, and you remove your legacy lock-in because you can hold your legacy resource in place and you can create a new space in which you use the legacy from several places. So it's drag and drop for IT because they can add in code in the code area, or for BAs, or for people in your department. We are very fixed on helping you meet digital standards. The new GDS standard, the digital declaration, is part of our thinking, and how can we help you do that? And control and governance is automated. So if you've been to our stand, you might have seen this playing on the wall. This is a short video of how easy it is to amend a process. You go in and say what you want to change. You can then change the data. You add the object. You say what the object needs to be. And you say whether you want your data to be encrypted for GDPR or not. Now, if you have IT in the room and they say, I want data to be handled differently, they can create a separate piece of code that gets added in, or your business users can use it. Now you've got the data model, you work on how it can be, you want to edit the page, you click and drag and drop through the page, and there are widget types for nearly everything. And we have a full calendaring piece of code missing. We can either write a piece of code and pop it in, for example, or the GDS form view, you know, the way it has to look and feel now, the new declaration that came out. We will have a widget that you just pull down and the UI will be updated, so you don't have to worry or think about that. It will just be part of the system. So what's our goal? What's in it for us? What's in it for you? and I know that that's maybe quite blunt at this time of the afternoon. What's in it for us is that we will expand our group of customers using our platform. What's in it for you is that you can share. And once you're using our platform, you can share as much as you like. So what we want to do, and we're working with transformation consultants, so if you're working with a transformation consultant, and again we're agnostic, we have no specific links, but we welcome working with any transformation consultant, such as software, yourself, software self. So we would like to think that we can work alongside, that you can get your processes right. Where's Andy? Because he's coming on next.
Yes.
If Andy Sanford is working on something with you, then you can then take that process and roll it straight into Lowcode, as you could into any other vendor. You should be able to say, right, here's my process, I'm going to roll it up into the software. You can use co-creation and you can do multi-agency working, and that you have future flexibility and independence. So I hope I've answered some of your questions that you might have had. I'm going to stop now because Nick is nodding at me. And if there are any questions, or if you'd like to see the Ada and Worthing housing study, please pop to the stand during tea and we'll pop it up on the screen so you can see the presentation that Paul Brewer did on the 3rd of July. Thank you.
Thank you very much.